Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Sometimes small-town justice rocks. Small-town justice with some good video evidence might have gone very differently without that footage. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Karen tried to trick me. I went to my local dispensary. The wind caught the door, which tapped the plastic on the outside of my neighbor's car mirror. They were inside the car smoking a blunt with the window rolled down. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Let me look." I looked at her mirror cover. It was fine. My door was fine. I said it's okay, and I walked into the dispensary. I had to wait a few minutes so I could see them through the window. I go back out, and Karen says, "Hey, I want to talk to you." She says, "We looked at the damage and we feel like we should call the police." I said, "Why? There's no damage to your car or my car." She says, "I'm trying to teach my son, grandson, minion, whoever this was with her, the right way to act." She F's up by beginning to lie to me. She says, "We've looked at the damage and we've got your license plate." Remember, I was watching her from the window. "We're going to call the police." I literally take my door and show her exactly where it tapped her mirror to show her where I couldn't have damaged her car. Karen starts screaming. She just did it again. And she just did it again. She hit our car again. Sigh. At this point, I'm like, "Okay, Karen, you do whatever you feel like you need to do. I'm leaving." Karen starts screaming and trying to stop me from leaving. She's screaming to everyone, "Get her tag, get her tag." Remember, she said she already had my tag? I'm trying to pull out and moving forward in first gear really slowly, and Karen runs up to the front of my car, throws herself across the hood, and screams, "She's hit me with her car." I put the car in neutral, get out, picked her up with her hoodie, and threw her off the hood of my car. She goes down on one knee because, of course, I've now killed her. Her grandson or minion or whatever comes up, calls me a B word, and tries to kick out my headlight. He's weak, so his foot just bounces off. I think I force repelled him or something because he just backed up. I was so mad. I got in my car and left, figuring I was probably going to get a visit from the police if they figured out who I was, because after I knocked her on her butt, she's screaming, "Assault!" Because of course she is. I went back a week later and I was concerned because this was my favorite dispensary and I'd made friends with a lot of the people that worked there and I didn't want to get banned. The owner stopped me and he says, "Hey, aren't you that girl that woman was trying to mess with last week?" I said, "Yeah. Am I in trouble?" He starts laughing and he says, "No, I just wanted you to know what happened." He says, "This is a small town and I own this security company as well as the dispensary, and the cops here all know me." I get a call from one of the officers. He says you need to come up here. When I get here, this woman has the police, the fire department, and an ambulance all parked in my dispensary lot. And she's in my front hallway on a stretcher screaming at the top of her lungs. The police asked me for the video footage, so I gave it to them. We all watched the footage together, me, the cops, and the woman, so we saw that you never hit her car like she was screaming. We saw that she threw herself on your car and said that you hit her, and we saw that she actually tried to stop you. All the witnesses in the parking lot all saw that you didn't actually hit her car and what she did. The police were telling her, "What are you trying to do by throwing yourself on her car? You can't stop her from leaving." The woman kept screaming that she was wanting to press charges for assault. The cop looks at her and says, "You can't try to press false charges in this town, and we're going to make sure that that doesn't go well for you." The owner then goes, "Hey, go back and get her one of those top shelf samples that we got." So nothing happened to me, and the owner gave me $45 worth of free product. And our second story. My entitled grandmother stole my new clothes and exchanged them for steel utensils. So I gave away her utensils. I'm Indian, and in my country, till a few years ago, you could get steel utensils from door-to-door vendors in exchange for clothes. This barter system still exists in villages and some small towns. My grandmother, being the insane hoarder that she was, loved getting utensils in this manner, utensils that no one else was allowed to touch, that she would never use and would only gather dust in her room. Anytime my stepmom or my dad tried to donate our old clothes to charity, she would throw a hissy fit. She'd collect all the clothes we weren't going to wear anymore so she could exchange them for pots and pans. At times, she would take it a step further and demand clothes that we were still going to wear. She would insist that they don't fit us anymore or some other bullcrap argument to get us to hand them over. Seriously, we had to sometimes fight her to keep our clothes. Oh, but she never gave away her own clothes. She only took garments from others, namely me, my dad, my stepmom, and my stepbrother. When I was around 21, I just lost a lot of weight and needed new clothes. Yes, I lived with my parents. In India, you can't afford to live independently unless you have a well-paying job, and I was in college at that time. So one day, I went to a local store's clearance sale and bought a bunch of new threads. I left them on my bed and went off to a friend's place. When I returned a few hours later, my new clothes were gone. My dad, stepmom, and brother weren't home, so I figured out instantly who must have taken them. I confronted the grand monster and asked what she'd done with my clothes. She was sitting on her bed admiring her latest haul of pots and pans. Without even looking up, she told me my clothes were ugly and too westernized, and that she did the right thing by exchanging them for something useful. As you can imagine, I lost my temper. I yelled, cursed at her, called her every name in the book, and she had the audacity to actually defend her actions. That evening, there was a major showdown in our home. I was still livid and asked my dad exactly how long we were going to put up with her abuse. My stepmother and I don't get along, but when one of us was up against Grand Monster, the other always lent her support. This was no different. My stepmother agreed with me wholeheartedly. My dad told Grand Monster that she was now forbidden from entering my room without my permission. She started to fake cry and said we're all being cruel to her. My dad later came to my room and said he would make it up to me and buy me new clothes. I, of course, was still livid, and I wasn't about to let that C-word have this victory. My grandmother needed sleeping pills to fall asleep. She took them even during the day, and she slept like the dead. A few days later, I snuck into her room during her afternoon nap. I opened her utensil trunk. Yes, she had a whole trunk full of them, and took out a whole bunch of her beloved pots, glasses, plates, etc. I shut the lid quietly and exited. I went straight to an old age shelter that was nearby. I donated the utensils and earned the joy of giving and the taste of sweet, sweet revenge. I didn't tell anyone what I'd done and just waited for Grand Monster to discover her loss, which she did just a few days later. It happened in the evening. I was in the kitchen cooking dinner when I heard her ear-piercing wailings about how someone had stolen from her utensils chest. A satisfied smile spread across my face. My dad called me into grandmother's room and asked if I knew anything about the missing utensils. I admitted that I had taken and donated them. Grand Monster looked like her head would explode. I calmly told her I'd done the right thing because those utensils were ugly and that the shelter needed them more. And clearly, if she could come into my room and take my things without asking, I could jolly well do the same. I think my dad was upset with me, but really had nothing to say to me. He spent the next hour or so trying to calm his mother down. I slept so effing well that night. And our last story. Karen welcomes me to the HOA. In 2019, I bought a condo. I had not been moved in more than 10 days when I got a knock on the door. I live in a building that only has apartments on the second floor, 4, and a communal area below us. I like the location because I don't have to worry about being loud to people beneath me. Well, this Karen knocks on the door and I open it. Okay. Hi, I'm Karen, and we share a wall. Me. I'm me. Okay, can I help you? Okay. I've done the pricing on having my outlet sealed. You need to pay half because I can smell the food you're cooking since you moved in, and I do not like it. Me. Excuse me, what? Okay, I do not like the smells coming from your house. It makes me nauseous. Me. What smells are causing you to feel sick? Okay, the cabbage and onion smells, and you cooked fish. It's unbearable. Me. Maybe you should hustle down to Bed Bath & Beyond and buy one of those fancy expensive scented candles. Okay, no, I need you to pay me half for having my outlet sealed. Me. No, I will cook what I want in my apartment that I bought. There's nothing in this CC&Rs that says I need to avoid cooking fish or cabbage. Also, onions are a primary ingredient in a lot of world cuisine. I'll continue to use all of these ingredients. Okay, well, I paid for my apartment as well, so I do not want to be subject to your nasty smells. Me. Okay, here's the deal. I'm going to close the door. If you want to improve your home by sealing outlets that will not stop the smell, You are entirely within your right as a homeowner to do that. However, you will do it at your own expense. Moving forward, there's no reason for you to interact with me unless there's a legitimate issue with the wall or pipes that we share. Okay, well, that's just rude. Me. I am unconcerned with how you feel about me or the food I cook. There's no reason for you to ever talk to me again unless it has to do with our shared walls and pipes. Goodbye. I shut the door and went back to my business. A couple of days later, the HOA leader knocked on my door and asked me about the issue. I told her that I was not entertaining any of this bullcrap. The two could call the police and send them out to arrest me over the cabbage, onions, and fish. The HOA leader laughed out loud and told me she just wanted to be sure things were calm and there was no issue moving forward. I told her that we'd be cool if Karen minded her damn business and didn't concern herself with my dietary decisions. I've been here 3 years now, and I see Karen regularly. We had a pipe burst during the 2021 winter storm, and we had to get together and threaten to sue the HOA when they said they wouldn't fix the pipes. They own them and are responsible for them. There was no problem. Afterward, we went back to peacefully coexisting without having to be friends or interact with each other. I still cook cabbage, fish, and onions. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.